The fate of my nation, 2025 WNBA All-Star Game will be held. Howard Megdal, deep inside the bowels of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. This is a very special edition of Lockdown Women's Basketball.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
A very pleasant late Saturday night, almost Sunday morning. And we did it. It was Howard Megdal here, Locked On Women's Basketball, coming to you live following the first game of what was, let's be clear, not the most competitive or interesting game on the floor. A 143-127 victory for Team Collier and Napheesa Collier with a night for the ages, 36 points on just 16 shots. No one's talking about this. No one is talking about this. They're talking about shirts that say, "Pay the players," assignments that pay the players, headed by Brittany Sykes, something that Commissioner Kathy Underberg heard in the crowd as she was presenting the MVP trophy to Napheesa Collier. They showed up, over 40 of them. They were at this meeting on Thursday and made it clear that they were dissatisfied on Friday. They continue to say what I have said. And we'll get into this much more over the course of the weeks. There's a lot of time and there's a real opportunity for finding a meeting of minds. See, they're not as far apart as they sounded to me. But that said, they are apart and the players have leverage and they use it. Let's hear from Napheesa Collier about why that changed. Because for those paying attention, that hasn't really been a public show of force as part of the WNBPA strategy. And that's really
changed. I see Howard Megdal for next. So obviously the decision to put public pressure on the league here is something we've seen a lot of this weekend. What has changed for the PA that's kind of led to this becoming a part of this negotiation? Or is there a dissatisfaction with how things have been going? It seems like there's obviously a clear increase, and I'm wondering when and how that decision was made.
Well, there's not going to be another time this year before the CBA gets done that we're all together like this. We have so many players from so many different teams getting things done. And, the last time, like bubble situations, all-star situations, you have to take advantage of those because it doesn't have to happen often. And especially when we're right in the thick of it right now, we just thought this was a perfect opportunity to raise awareness for what we're doing and do it together.
Thank you.
Again, really interesting to think about because she mentions the bubble, and that is the last time this many players were together, 40 plus who showed up here. But the wobble season was a designed season for safety. Players happened to be together. It was almost like the 144 collective was a byproduct of a otherwise previously put together decision. This is different. This was an intentional move by players who came and Caitlin talked about this previously. A lot of them younger than her, she's in her second year. They were rookies at this year. And veterans alike. All coming together to try and get the best deal that the players can get. Now again, the devil's in the details, and there's a lot to talk about and reasons why the league has the stance that it does, like they do. It's going to be utterly fascinating to see how this square the circle. And again, I'll just go back and say, not only are there time reasons, I'm going to get into that in a special edition of the IMAGN newsletter coming up soon, but there's time where this has to get done. Kathy Underwood talked about this tonight. It's a collectively bargained thing to have an expansion bill. And you've got two teams who have to play by next year. There's two definite plans for free agency. That happens before Portland and Toronto. So a lot that still has to be figured out. Really interesting to see. So we'll have a lot more about this. But the other part, we talk about this after the break, is just this is the new. That place was sold out. That place was loud. This is the new normal for women's basketball. And I really delighted in getting a chance to talk to some of the All-Stars about this. So we'll hear from that after the break. But first, I'm Howard Megdal. This is Locked On Women's Basketball. Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by FanDuel. And summer sports are in full swing. And you may not know this, but the WNBA isn't even the only league playing. There's something called Major League Baseball, where men can play professional baseball, all involved. There's golf on the green. There's even soccer, not just NWSL either. Major League Soccer offers the opportunity for men to play professional soccer. Well, FanDuel gives you the best chance to make every one of those games more exciting. With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are Sunday at the beach. Whether you're tracking your favorite matchups, looking at the app for new daily promotions, or finding more fun ways to bet, FanDuel has it all. New to FanDuel, or new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you first bet. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. FanDuel. Back here, Locked On Women's Basketball, and again, sold out crowds, loud cheering, an entire city mobilized for the WNBA. That's what's happened here in Minneapolis. We ought to not lose sight of that, because that is significant in ways that will resonate in many years to come, and precisely the way the new CBA is. So let's hear from Sabrina, Ionescu, and Kelsey Mitchell about what that experience is like.
Kelsey, Sabrina, good to see you both. Kelsey, this one is actually for you. You've been in this league long enough to have been playing in front of much smaller crowds and a very different player experience. Are you used to it yet? Like, does this still feel new, or this is, just take me through how you process it.
I don't. Here's why. I see a new celebrity that I watched on TV growing up or something at the game every day now. So I'm just like, what is happening? I say that to say, like, people, want to see what women's basketball look like at the highest level. And we as the players want to be a good product. And the idea is that you want people to keep letting this place in, but I'll never get used to that.
And Sabrina, similar question for you. It's a different reference point. You're coming in 2020. So obviously early on you're playing with no crowds at all. Does it take some getting used to still to sort of see where the league has gotten to this particular weekend? You spoke the other day about how even the crowd felt different for 3-point today as opposed to Vegas in 23.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's kind of the standard now. I think in terms of, every home arena, every away arena should be packed. And there should be fans, because I believe that entices free agents. Like, they want to go places where they're supported and appreciated and celebrated for what it is that they're doing, and they have the city behind them cheering them on as they're trying to get wins. And so I feel like it's kind of the standard, but I wouldn't say, it never gets old. It's always exciting as a player to be able to go in arenas, but also at home and know that, you're going to have the city behind you cheering you on.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll bet it doesn't get old. Fever style was a very different thing than Kelsey Mitchell WNBA debut in 2018. Right here in Indiana, 6,565 people watched that debut. That's it. They understand who Kelsey Mitchell is now in a broader way. Kelsey Mitchell is now at a point where she is not only celebrated, not only an all-star, but appreciated by a screaming crowd watching her take that in as she was announced before the sellout crowd. Yes, they love Caitlin Clark here. No, they do not only love Caitlin Clark here in Indiana, as the cheers for Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, and frankly for everyone, for Paige Beckford, for Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu, more than clear. It was a night that the players flexed in multiple ways, and we'll see what that means in the weeks ahead for the players. That's all for tonight's medium-length show. I'm Howard Megdal. Well, of course, we got to do this week. Looking forward to so much more. Enjoy tonight, enjoy tomorrow, enjoy this afternoon with us. I'm Howard Megdal, wishing all of you a wonderful, wonderful Sunday.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team